स्वराजं यचतो मौद्यं मनो मे भिक्षुतो बता स्वराज्येन पुण्येन फलिकारनिवादनः Swarajyam is devotional service yachataha from the Lord who was willing to offer Mahodyat by foolishness, manaha, material prosperity, may by me, bhikshitaha was asked for, bata, alas, his swarat from a great emperor, Chinna, reduced, punyena, with pious activities, palikaran, broken particles of husk rice, eva, like adanaha, a poor man. Translation: because of my state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, and although the Lord offered me His personal service, I wanted material name, fame and prosperity. My case is just like that of a poor man who, when he satisfied a great emperor, who wanted to give him anything he might ask, out of ignorance, asked only a few broken grains of husk rice. Please repeat. Because of my state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, and although the Lord offered me His personal service, I wanted material name, fame, and prosperity. My case is just like that of a poor man who, when he satisfied a great emperor who wanted to give him anything he might ask, out of ignorance, asked only a few broken grains of husk rice. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And this word, the word Swarajyam, which means complete independence, is very significant. A conditioned soul does not know what complete independence is. Complete independence means situation in one's own constitutional position. The real independence of the living entity who is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to remain always dependent on the Supreme Lord. Just like a child who plays in complete independence, guided by his parents who watch over him. The independence of the conditioned soul does not mean to fight with the obstacles offered by Maya, but to surrender to Krishna. In the material world, everyone is trying to become complete independent simply by fighting against the obstacle offered by Maya. This is called the struggle for existence. Real independence is to be reinstated in the service of the Lord. Anyone who goes to the Vaikuntha planet or Goloka Vrindavan planet is freely offering his service to the Lord. That is complete independence. Just contrary to this is material overlordship, which we wrongly take to be independence. Many great political leaders have tried to establish independence, but due to such so-called independence, the people's independence has only increased. People's dependence has only increased. The living entity cannot be happy trying to be independent in the material world. One has to surrender, and therefore, onto the lotus feet of the Lord and engage in his original eternal service. Guru Maharaj regrets that he wanted material opulence and greater prosperity than that of his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. His begging from the Lord was like a poor man asking a great emperor for a few grains of broken rice. The conclusion is that anyone who is engaged in the loving service of the Lord should never ask for material prosperity from the Lord. The awarding of material prosperity simply depends on the stringent rules and regulations of the external energy. Pure devotees ask the Lord only for the privilege of serving Him. This is our real independence. If we want anything else, it is a sign of our misfortune. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gnanam Gnanasalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Satvitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Gadamam Vidati Swaparambikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Saji Shadvitam Savadutam Garjanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakanutasya He Krishna Garuda Sindhu Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Ravanu Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Vacha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanekyo Vaishnavekyo Namo Namaha Namarom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deven Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desakarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Dhruva Maharaj is repenting on his position whereby he has met the Lord. Meeting the Lord means he can end his cycle of birth and death, because the Lord can give benediction to take a conditioned soul out of this material entanglement. But instead of asking for liberation from this material world, he has asked for some material benefit. So he has become very much disturbed by this foolishness. This is what it is, because conditioned soul in the material world, he is so much entangled, he does not know the goal of his life. He does not know. He thinks the material life is simply meant for material enjoyment. Okay? This is the conditioning nature of the living entity. He does not know that actually his real home is in the spiritual world. Swan lokam na vidustevai yatra devo janardana jai Shri Radha. Aho dhumra diyo vedam sakarma kam tat vidaha. Sakarma kam tat vidaha. The meaning of this word is, those who are less intelligent accept the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies as all in all. They do not know that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand one's own home, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead lives. Not being interested in their real home, they are illusioned and search after other homes. You understand this point? We are not knowing that our real home is in the spiritual world. So instead of trying to go back there, we are trying to become happy here in this material world. And what is that all about? It is all about deep down here in this verse, Narada Muni is explaining he is thinking that this material world, all in all, can see here, my dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. That deer is very much attached to his business and is enjoying the sweet singing of the bumblebees in his garden. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware that before him is a tiger which is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind there is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with a sharp arrow. Thus the deer's death is imminent. This is what the material world is. In the material world, we are thinking that this is very nice. But plain here in this world, my dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning, but in the end very disturbing, is just like, exactly like the flower, which is attractive in the beginning and detestable at the end. With women, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and enjoys sex, just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. It thus enjoys the life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals. In this way, the living entity considers himself very happy in family life. United with his wife, he always remains absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like sweet humming of bumblebees that collect honey from flower to flower. He forgets that before him is time which is taking away his lifespan. With the passing of day and night, he does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death, who is trying to kill him from behind. Just try to understand this. You are in a precarious position and are threatened from all sides. So you can understand this is what the material world is all about. Material world means that is, no matter how much you try to get comfortable things, it eventually ends up in what? Death. Everything becomes a failure. And we are trying to make ourselves, successful and do this and do that and all. Like here, Prabhu Maharaj is asking for, kingdom, so much higher than his father. He's going to get such a long lifespan, 36,000 years. His body will never grow old. But still, at the end, what is that? There's still that. Is it not? That's why it's explained here in this verse. The material life, a purified soul should see that because the conditioned soul who are dedicated to sense gratification have falsely accepted the object of sense pleasure as truth, all of their endeavors are doomed to failure. This is a fact. You follow? Why? Because this material world is not our real home. Our real home is in the spiritual world. That is actually the objective. of human life. The goal of human life is not to build a happy family. It doesn't work. We are thinking that, we will become very comfortable here with all our, family situation. We think this is what it means, life is all about. One should see one's real self-interest in life in all circumstances, and should therefore remain detached from wife, children, home, land, relatives, friends, and wealth, and so on. So what is that real self-interest? In Sanskrit there's two words. One is called Shreya, another one is called Prayas. Prayas means short-term objective. Short-term. Like a child, he wants to play, he doesn't want to go to school, he's just playing. But he knows that short-term. But if he goes to school, then studies and becomes successful, that is long-term objective. You see, that's why here you can see Arjuna is speaking to Krishna and he's saying this verse, you please tell me what is my ultimate good. You see here, Yat Shreya, tell me what is the best for me. See? Yeah. Shreya, all good. What is the best? What is the all good for me? What is not temporary good? What is the ultimate good for me? See? You please tell me. I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. So that is actually the real objective. Not to ask for temporary thing, that is not the goal of human life. Human life is not meant for that. Although that's what all material education is all about. Material education is always aiming for this. Material education is always aiming for this. Simply by material birth, human beings become attached within their mind to personal sense gratification. Yes? Long duration of life. What else? Sense activities, bodily strength, sexual potencies. Sexual potency, friends and family. Their minds are thus absorbed in that which defeats their actual self-interest. You follow this? This is what actually is all about. Guru Maharaj was also like that. Again, the same point. Generally, human beings work hard to cultivate religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and also knowledge of the soul. Their usual motive is to increase the duration of their lives, acquire fame, and enjoy material opulence. This is what their material education is all about. How to, you know, live long life, acquire fame, enjoy material opulence. But it's not the real interest. It's not the real interest. Yeah? You do not know what is the real interest. What is that real interest? What is that verse? Idam sambante bhavu 11. Yeah? 11:9. 29. This is explained here in this verse. Labdva sudurlabhamidam bahusambante manushya arthadham manusyam arthadham anityam apiha dhiraha turnam yatetana patet anumrityum yavan nishreyasya vishaya kalo sarvata syat. After many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life as long as his body, which is always subject to death, is not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for human beings. Try to understand. Now we have got this human body. This human body, we should endeavor to make a solution to stop this cycle. Instead of trying to stop this cycle of birth and death, and we are trying to live comfortably here, does it make any sense? Does it make any sense? Huh? Foolish. This is foolishness. Huh? This is what? Pure foolishness. Huh? That's why Krishna says here in this verse, in this verse you see here, everything that can be achieved by fruitive activities, penance, knowledge, detachment, mystic yoga, charity, religious duty, and all other means of perfecting life, easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. If somehow or other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction. Krishna easily gives. But what actually the real thing is that because my devotees possess saintly behavior and deep intelligence, they completely dedicate themselves to me and do not desire anything beside me. Indeed, even if I offer them liberation from birth and death, they do not accept it. You see that? This is what Dhruva Maharaj is lamenting about. He's lamenting. Why do I want to, get all these material things? I don't want them. I made a big mistake. I should ask for association of the Lord. You follow? Even devotees, they are given liberations, that they don't accept that. See how much the devotees are surrendered to being with the Lord. So that should be that symptom is love. Love means that we do not aspire to have anything in return. That's why it's called unconditional devotional service. Unconditional means without any condition. Whether you embrace me or you hug me or you you kick me, or you not come in front of me, you make me broken-hearted as we chant in the morning. I don't care. All I want, you will be my worshipful Lord unconditionally. So this is what devotional service is all about. And Guru Maharaj is realizing his, his mistake, that, I have, I have kind of asked from the Lord. I could have asked, something better. Instead I asked for material benefit. What is this? This is not very intelligent. See? That's why even the Lord says here, you can see here one more verse here, you see the Lord is saying, Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motive. But he does not bestow benediction upon a devotee that will cause him to demand more benediction again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it. And that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. So that is what Krishna wants. See here, in this case, Guru Maharaj, although he was very morose with this aspect of asking the Lord something, but nonetheless the Lord therefore gave him something nobody got. And in the end, after his 36,000 years of reign, he is promoted back to the spiritual world. You see how, even though the devotee is feeling very much disturbed, but the Lord nevertheless gives him. See? That's why I've been a devotee of all circumstances. That's why you have desire, or you have no desire, or you want to become. In all means, you should always go to the Supreme Lord. You understand this? See the Lord. He purifies it. The condition, the soul, the living entities, material desire. And he purifies him so that he becomes purified. And then when he saw the Lord, he said, no, I don't want anything. See? So that is devotional service. Devotional service means we must become free from material contamination. And that means progress. If we are desiring, a lot of material, benefit, that means our heart is contaminated. But we are coming to this understanding that I don't want anything. That means we are making spiritual advance. That's how we check. You follow? And if we are having a constant desire to, have, material, prosperity, material assets, beautiful wife, this, that. This means that our heart is contaminated. So we should come to the point whereby we have nothing but to only ask for service for the Lord. See? That means we are getting purified from this material contamination. If we are desiring material facilities, means our heart is still contaminated. See? Because material, desires and spiritual desires are two different contexts. Material desires and spiritual desires, they don't go together. So in the Bhagavad Gita it says, what is day for the sage? What is that? To what? What is that? Yan Nisa. 259 is it? Bhagavad Gita. Huh? 240. What? 269. Can see here in this verse. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyaham jagrati samyami yashaham jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. There is total difference. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective state. So opposite, totally. It's like water and oil. They cannot mix. Understand? They want something we don't want. We want something they don't want. This is how like this is the whole thing about. So spiritual life means to develop our love for Krishna. That cannot be compromised with any sort of material contamination. Anukulena Krishna Nusilanam. Anukul, Krishna, This Anya Vilasita Sunyam. We cannot have any other desire other than trying to desire the lotus feet of the Lord. That's what actually devotional service is all about. And by practicing devotional service, one gets to that stage whereby he becomes niskam. I don't want anything. Just like explained Prahlad Maharaj, when he was offered benediction, he doesn't want anything. Why you giving me these things? I don't want. I don't want to be tempted. Whereas the materialistic person, he is always desiring. You know what I mean? He is so much desiring that even if someone gives him the benediction, he will also try to harm him. You understand? That's why worship of the demigods and worship of Krishna are two different things. Why is it different? Because worship of demigod, you don't get purified from all this contamination. You follow? Whereas worshipping of Krishna, when you have material desires, you get purified. You don't want. Whereas those who worship demigod, they cannot get purified. It is explained here. 10:88. What? Huh? 88:5? No, not 5. Eleven. See here, because I am difficult to worship, people generally avoid me. Instead, worship other deities who are quickly satisfied. When people receive kingly opulence from these deities, they become arrogant, intoxicated with pride, and neglectful of their duties. They dare to even offend the demigods who have bestowed benediction upon them. You see the difference? When you worship Krishna, he comes to the point of becoming morose. Why did I ask the Lord this? Whereas those who worship the demigods, you see how they become? They become arrogant, intoxicated with pride, neglectful of their duties. They dare to even offend the demigods who have bestowed the benediction. You see how much? Contamination. That means worship of demigod is not a very intelligent thing. And those who worship demigods, they cannot get purified. That's the point. That is the point. Because the whole idea is to become self-realized, to understand I'm wasting my time here in the material world. You follow? not to prolong our life here. That is not intelligence. Our intelligence is to find a quick solution to come out of this material entanglement. That is actually the intelligence. But to prolong your intelligence by getting what? Material benefits, as Prabhupada always says, transferring from the C-class jail to the A-class jail. It's still jail. The whole idea is to come out of the jail, not to have some comforts. You follow this point? So therefore, person who want to enjoy material sense gratification is considered to be a fool. One who actually wants to enjoy sense gratification is actually a fool. See? That's why anyone who is intelligent, they don't want to do this. Intelligent person, they don't want to do that. Intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. We should try to understand why we are taking up this Krishna conscious program, why we are shunning material pleasures, why this thing has to be understood. You follow? We are not like normally people go to God always demanding material assets from the Lord. Is it not? That is how anyone is trained. So you go to God and please ask for material benefit. Is it not? But that is not the essence of worshipping God. Really to worship God means to develop our loving relationship with Him so that we can completely depend on Him and go back to the spiritual world. That is actually the real conclusion of human life. Real conclusion is to become totally dependent on the Lord, not to be independent from the Lord. That is a mistake. That is a mistake, I think it is explained here in this verse, you can see. What is that verse? Mud. Got it. Evan Charan, you got that verse? Hmm? Hmm? $870. Yeah, I got it. This is the verse, not this one. Oh, not yet. Here. You can see in this verse, by serving you constantly, one is free from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent, eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a perfect master? So this is actually the real purpose of the conditioned soul, is to come back to the position of being an eternal servant of the Lord. So when we try to cut short that, this is where all our problem begins. So we should reprogram ourselves to come to this understanding that I want to again, when can I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a perfect master? You see, but when we try to change that, that is what? 5 what? Nate Vuduva Swarta Gatim Vishnu. 7? 7 what? 7, 5, 30. 31. So when we try to change that, we try to not become an eternal servant, and of course naturally we forget. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As a blind man guided by another blind man misses the right path and falls into a ditch, materially attached man led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold misery. You see this point? You don't know, you don't want to know, you want to enjoy your senses, then the resultant reaction is very precarious. Suffering. It's only suffering. Why we are suffering? Is because we want to be independent. That's the whole problem. If you want to be independent, then the result is suffering. But if you take the other way, we read this now, if you become dependent, see, by serving you constantly, one is free from all desires and completely pacified. You're not agitated. And when shall I engage your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful? You see again, there you are completely in misery. Here you are completely in bliss. So this is the choice. Do you want to go that way or you want to go this way? This is the prize you have to take. Alright? Any questions? You cannot become happy by engaging in sense gratification. It is not possible. There is no other way than surrendering to the Lord through the spiritual master, of course. Okay, we stop here then. If you have any questions. Why the video ended?